Here we go. Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, classic, known classics. This is episode number 30. This is 3504. Double shot number 3398. Got two DC trades. One is technically the trade is published by DC, but the issues were not originally published by DC Comics. Oh no, but the character is, yes. This being DC Finest, Blue Beetle challenges the Red Knight. Yeah, this is the Charlton era of the Blue Beetle. Yeah, this short book collects the entire Blue Beetle era. All the Charlton stuff for Blue Beetle. Both Dan Garrett, the original Blue Beetle, and Ted Kord. Basically, here's what collects. Blue Beetle. This scores the volume from 1964, the first 5 issues, along with issues 50-54. This is another book's numbering. And that's the Dan Garrett stuff. You're like, wait. That is, believe it or not, 10 issues. Yes. Then we have the Ted Kord stuff, which takes up from a backup feature from Capnet 83-86, and then continues over in the 5 issues of the next volume of Blue Beetle, which lasted 5 issues, and a short story from Charlotte Bowles on number 1. Now, of course, Cedric does all the Ted Kord stuff. Now, I actually do have on the way right now. It's probably get it tomorrow. I have another Charlton era character who actually does appear recently, who basically I think they decided to do because he's featured in live action. I'll get to that one when that comes out. So, I should point out though, the self-publishing here has been collected for in a out of print and very expensive Action Hero Archive books. Yes, these stories were collected in the second volume for the series. And you're probably thinking, is the Blue Beetle number 1? That's first appearance of Dan Garrett? No, it is not. Because Dan Garrett was not a character originally owned by Charlton. Yeah, that's a mistaken belief. Like, oh, DC got him from Charlton. Yes, but Dan Garrett was purchased by Charlton Comics by, get this, so this is not the first company. As a matter of fact, it's not even the second company. And you're thinking, why is that? The information I have heard about Dan Garrett is that this actually is the third company to publish the Dan Garrett Blue Beetle stuff. You're like, excuse me? Are you freaking kidding me? The third? Yes. The third. But here's the weird thing. So, okay, the original comic, which lasted 59 issues. Well, kind of. No 60 issues, but no 43. So, first comic published this one was Fox Features Syndicate. They were the first comic publishers, and they went briefly out of business. And the story goes is that the guy who ran the company, he would proclaim, I heard this in my car, like, I'm the king of comics! I'm the king of comics! And apparently he said this in front of the late Jack the King Kirby. And also Dan Garrett himself, there is actually big confusion about his creation. According to the actual credit, it's created by a person known as Charles Nicholas. And according to legend, there's about 3 different Charles Nicholases. And one of them apparently might be Jack Kirby himself. Oh, and the guy who ran Fox Syndicate, he apparently had this thing for ripping off DC. Like, he had this guy called Wonder Man. And it's like, oh, he's not suing, he's red. DC sued him. And lost. Well, he lost to DC. Yes, one of 2 times basically DC has sued a company. Though that one was quite obvious. This one was stupid. The whole thing was stupid. And we have High IQ Publication, who basically took over from issue 12, and they only lasted to issue like 30, like not very long period of time. And can you believe this was published from December 1939 and was included in August 1950. And then we have this volume here. First we had the second volume, which was a reprint book published by Charlton Comics, lasting 5 issues, 1821. This is mostly put just for some reason they didn't collect in here. For some reason, yeah, they didn't collect that. Now the first 2 issues are reprints of old Charlton stories, like old Fox Syndicate stories. Issue 18. Now those thinking 1821 second volume for Blue Beetle, like, wait, where's the first 17 issues come from? Well, it's Fox's thing, a continuing the series numbering. So apparently, it was for a book called The Thing, the new Marvel's The Thing, and that 20 was called Mr. Muscles. So 18 had a reprint of Blue Beetle issue 40. Issue 19 of this volume reprints. Pretty much basically reprints like the opening story of Mystery Trolling Bells reprint from issue 38. The time was out of issue 55. And there's a backup story here. Rocket Kelly, which is not owned by DC. That's reprint from the Bounce number 10. Issue 20, Rookie Trouble, which is actually original story, which they chose not to put in here for some reason. Yeah, it's not in here. I'm not sure why. The second story is Joe Mesa, which is a reprint from Blue Beetle 48. There's a reprint story from June of 16, Junior Silent Man, Last Chance, which is the original story. And then the final issue, opening story, The Unmasking, that is the original story. Captured, original story. Joe Mason, Mystery in C Major, that is a reprint for issue 45. And that was the last issue. Yeah, so the issue 3 of Nature Boy, that's the final appearance of the Golden Age. Dan Garrett. Yeah. And then we had, if I can get to it here, Volume 3, which is a retooled version of Blue Beetle. Yes. Which, that's what this one collects. It's 5 issues, and it collects the entire thing. It's a quite interesting set of stories here. Mm-hmm. So, basically, starting off issue 1, which is The Giant Mummy Who Was Not Dead. Yeah, that's pretty much issue 1. Yeah, that's just the opening story, but there's more stories in here. So, Joe Gill is the writer of the Dan Garrett the Silver Age Dan Garrett stories, while he's pretty much the writer of all of them. And then Steve Ditko takes over for the Ted Kord stuff. He pretty much writes all of it. Yes, pretty much all of it. It says in here Volume 2, but technically it's more like Volume 3. So, by the way, that's Dan Garrett's original costume. Yeah, so You just have, archaeologist, which apparently this was not his original origin story. Yeah, the original version of Dan Garrett, he was a police officer, not an archaeologist. The archaeologist thing is associated with Silver Age. And he's a pipe smoker, too. So basically he's here with, I think this is Joan Mason. I think it's Joan. Let me take a look here. It is, no, it's Lori Hoshin. Yes. She is pretty much basically... She's kind of a replacement for... no, she only appeared technically twice. She appeared in this opening story here. And then we don't see her again until issue 54. Yeah, I'm not sure why. So, it's a great... You have find out against, like, stuff in Egypt. It's a great Egyptian story. And then we have... It's... Yeah, it just fighting off all good stuff here. It also says Kaji Da, which he picks up his Beetle and becomes put on the suit. Yeah, Kaji Da. People think, oh, Kaji, that's Javi Reyes says that. Yes, he does. Dan Garrett did it first. Scarred Scarab, yes. So after this first issue, she's never seen again until his final appearance. Why? No idea why. It's bizarre. I've never heard of a brand new character that you just no, the giant mummy, who's basically brought in the story. This is sole appearance. He never appears ever again. With the second story of the book, with the second issue, we have Captain Ellie Noir. Yep, and the whole thing is he goes to the Arctic Circle. By the way, the Charlton stories are set on Earth 4. Yes. So you have him with this girl just fending out himself in the Arctic, which kind of do that movie with Lane Nielsen. We had the Five Guys, and of course it's a remake of an older movie where a guy tries to get out of this area where the plane crashed. And he's going to the jungle. He's doing his best by fighting off against these guys. It's really good action-packed story here. And then he goes, he leaves. And then we have Mr. Thunderbolt in issue 3. Yes, issue 3 of the book. Oh, who's he fighting in issue 2? The communist. Well, Chinese communists. There we go. Yeah, so there's a mysterious criminal called Mr. Thunderbolt. Yeah. Now, does he return after the story here? I don't think he does, because from what I can tell anyways, it seems like a lot of the Dan Garrett villains are pretty much one-shot characters. They just appear in the one story and then they never return ever again. It's not like you see for like DC or Marvel, which they have characters pop up a lot. Not in the case of Dan Garrett. Just like, yeah, he just shows off the ring he has, and Thunderbolt is just this electric criminal who's just a precursor to like Electro. Of course, he damages buildings. Also, as the Blue Beetle, he can fly. Yes, the Scarab allows him to fly. And after he's defeated, he's off with this woman by the end of the story. And then we have the Praying Mantis Man. And you have him hang out with excuse me. Oh, Mr. Level, he's an alien. Yeah, he's an alien. Come on, get back there, please. Come on. Come on. Come on, I know you can do it. Come on. Don't freeze me, please. Not in the video. Anyways, so... Very basically where the last issue continues on from there. Yeah, and deals with praying mantis man, a guy who turns up green. It's sort of an insect issue. It's a pretty still fun issue. Yeah, for Silver Age it's a lot of fun. Okay. Alright. If I can just get up my video here, I can basically do this here. Come on. Issue 4. 5 fights the Red Knight. Yep. Which, of course, basically that's what the book's basic title is. Issue 5. So it basically flies around. It's just like a medieval knight. Yeah. Damn it! I hate when it does this. Hang on, hang on. My computer decided to freeze on me, and I hate when it does this. I'm glad my mouse can move, but I really wish basically stuff else would move. Oh, now it does something. Jesus. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Can you get back to my thing, please? Come on. Can you get unfrozen? Come on! Sorry about that. Anyways, now my computer decides to work. Now it decides to cooperate with me. Okay, my apologies for that reaction. My computer has been freeze up on me for no reason. So, then with after 5. We skip 50, issue 50. You're like, wait, where's 46? Where's 6 to 49? Well, Blue Beetle took over another series. Yep, and this apparently was a common thing back then. Nowadays, you don't see this because comics nowadays don't usually hit that high. So yeah, we had the book. We have Dan Garrett back in action here. He's faced off against basically people in the ocean. Now, well, since that's not cooperating me, I'm going to do it on here because, okay, now this cooperates me. Jesus Christ. It's like, my laptop times basically would not cooperate. Let's see here. Alright, here we go. No. Yeah, by the way, also the second issue 50. Let's see if I can find it here. Here we go. This actually is from volume 4. So, not a very long volume, only 5 issues. You're probably thinking, where does the number come from? So, apparently, the first 14 issues of this numbering come from Unusual Tales. And then after publishing this for 5 issues, it was renamed to Ghostly Tales right afterwards. Probably due to low sales. So he, of course, fights a guy called Mr. Crab. Works with a woman called Doris Byers. Now, in the case of Mr. Crab, he's only here for one issue. Standard stuff. Yep. Yeah, and apparently, yes, the last appearance of Dan Garrett was in issue 5 of this book here, the Red Knight book, which released covered in April of 1965, which I guess probably published in February of 1965. So it took him some time for a return. How long? About 4 months. Yep. And he's back here for a few more issues, and then he's done. Yep, Dan Garrett's done. Yeah, and Doris herself, she's a one-shot character. So if I hit someone in the sea, he also, like, trapped in a room with gas. He breaks out, of course, because of course he does. From I read, this actually did happen in the Golden Age stuff, from what I heard from Link Harvard's retrospective. So it's nice to see this in person. So, and then issue number 51, face off against Meteor the Magnificent. And like most characters, he is a one-shot character. Yep. Yeah. There's also the Great Pharaoh makes his return in this book. Yep. The Great Pharaoh, he was a character who was a wielder of the Blue Beetle. Yeah, he made his return in issue 51 at the last period of issue 5 of the previous book. So you probably think with this issue here, like, you're working with Miss Appleton. Yes, a one-shot character. Yeah, the media think it's a guy in a suit. Actually, it's a robot. Yes, it's a robot, and of course he ends up fighting. He's coursed by Blue Beetle. It's a very interesting issue. And then we have Magna Man pits his power against the Blue Beetle. Yes, Magna Man. And the woman he's with here is Renee DeBoss. Yep. And he's off in Europe. Yep. He's off in Europe for this issue. Yeah, he's basically a globetrotter. And he fights this guy here for this one issue. Also goes to New York. Then we go to issue 53, which is the penultimate issue. And, of course, basically, we bring back the Praying Mantis Man. Yep, the Praying Mantis Man makes a return, which makes him probably the only character, aside from Dan Garrett himself, appeared more than once. Yes. He makes a return here. I'm sure Dan probably thought he was dead, but nope, he's back here for this one issue. Yep, he's back here after last appearing in issue number 4. So yeah, he appears in the penultimate issue of the first volume published by Charlton featuring him, and then we have here issue 4 of that. He returns here this issues later, and yeah, it's an excellent, more insect stuff. I like the fact basically they brought him back here, and then 54, mostly put for 54. It is pretty much a wrap up of Dan Garrett stuff, or basically it's a revisit of issue 1 of this. This character? Mm-hmm. Yes. Now, if I get my thing to work here properly. Come on. 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 Oh, thank you! I hate one of those sets. Okay, so, and now we're on the final issue of the Dan Garrett Blue Beetle era. where he faces up against the Eye of Horus, and he basically runs into Professor Laurie again. First time since his debut issue. Yes, well, first appearance in the Silver Age, anyways. Yes, so, and of course, basically, we bring back the Great Pharaoh here for guys. It just the book wasn't probably selling very well at the time. This had like Marvel was doing pretty well in the '60s, so was DC. I really wish my laptop would stop going black because I don't move my mouse. Come on, come on, come on. Come on, come on, come on. I know you can work. This is so frustrating, yes. With a laptop that doesn't want to cooperate with me at all. Come on, come on, come on. Are you going to work? Are you going to work? Come on. Come on, I know you can do it. I know you can. Come on, laptop, work, please. Can you work? Work, work. Finally comes back up. My apologies. My laptop keeps having to go black for some stupid reason, or it'll just freeze up on me. I apologize for my attitude. It's my laptop. It's not cooperating with me. It's been getting worse the last 2 days. Very worse. That's why I haven't done a comic con the last few days. I've been lucky to get video out. Alright, so, yeah, Eye of Horus. So, this is pretty much basically, yeah, we basically we deal with Eye of Horus, go back to Egypt here. And then we return to Great Pharaoh. And that's it for Dan Garrett. We won't see him again until the Ted Kord stories. By the way, the Ted Kord stories are, he makes debut as a backup feature for Captain Atom issue 83. Yeah, this of course is the same Captain Atom who appears in the 80s book. Excuse me. Yes, same guy. So basically, Ted makes his debut right in the bug, and it's a quick story. Yeah, it's a quick, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's a quick 7-page story for him. Yeah, 7 pages. You just see him like looking up criminals, beats people up, they try to take his mask off. Oh, if you notice, basically for the outfits, he looks like similar design to Spider-Man. Of course he is, because he's created by the late Steve Ditko. And we see him where he's got his own gadgets, his little fingerprint thing. And that's it for that one. Now move on to issue number 2. More Blue Beetle. By the way, the stories for the Ted Kord ones are, first one is Blue Beetle battles the squads. The end is the beginning. The Madmen. The Mask of Mosaic. Blue Beetle faces Destroyer of Heroes. And then we have the Charlton issue. Yeah, by the way, we have Tracy here. By the way, she does find out by early on that he is in fact him. So, and then then for Captain Up issue 85, which has the return of Nightshade in the opening story. So this one is basically the backstory of Ted Kord. It explains the whole thing, like how he met Dan Garrett. And this issue, like you think, oh, does this issue explain it? Not really. Just crashed. It sets it up. So he crashed an island, but we're not done yet. Yes. So then move on to issue number 86. So Ted does his thing. Beats people up, of course. And we see a guy look like opening a door. Yeah, seeing this right here reminds me a lot of when no one else was changing behind a door like this. A fence people off, and I think, are we going to basically find out exactly what happened here? So we'll find out soon. And then we have, who is the question? Yeah, the question makes debut in the back story here. So you have Blue Beetle and Squids here. Yes. So, yeah, it's a regular full comic. And then issue 2 finally unveils what the heck happened to Dan Garrett. Yes, after all this time, well, basically at the time this came, it's been 2 years since the end of the previous Blue book. And this comic here will be the Silver Age Dan Garrett's final ever appearance. Yes. So, yeah, we bring up basically we return to Dan Garrett here, who dies and gives info, and yep. This is also where Tracy finds out that Ted is Blue Beetle, obviously, and then of course and then issue number 3 is debut of the Madmen. Yes, a group of characters who still appear today. DC love using these guys. They pop up a few times in the 80s. Heck, these guys even fought Nightwing at the start of the current volume. Yes. And issue 3 is debut of the Madmen. This Madmen can only appear this one issue here. They appear a lot, and they're freaking Blue Beetle villains. I'm like, okay, colorful outfits, really cool here. And then we have a guy who thinks he's Manhunter, excuse me. Yep. So he's this guy in this mask here, and it's kind of a cult-ish issue, this one. And then we have the final issue here, issue 5, where he faces up against basically a guy in an outfit. Of course, there is a cameo in this issue here by the Question himself. Yeah, this last issue here is a cameo by the Question. And I was looking for it. Link Carter pointed it out the other his video, and I actually couldn't find it. Of course, let's see. I just don't see the. Maybe they cut the cameo. Maybe I think they did. Because I'm honestly not seeing it, because he appears here for a cameo because this is the last issue. And then we move over to Charlatan Bullseye, the last story here. And this is a quick team story between the Question and Blue Beetle, which 2 characters come by Steve Ditko. And it's a quick little fun adventure they have. And they face off against a guy called Titan. And that's it. Of course, next, basically, they have this sort of Avengers group appear afterwards. And that's the last of the Silver Age Ted Cord. Next is Ted Cord after that one appearance, actually not being until after Crisis Infinite Earths. This book is awesome. Give roughly a 9 out of 10. My apologies for a little ranting against my own laptop. It keeps freezing on me. Alright, so next we have is Superman, Volume 5, Love and Mercy. This collects the Lex Luthor special for Superman along with Superman Volume 6, issue 24-27. Mostly put, this book here is more build-up for KO and Superman's conflict with the Darkseid version of League of Superheroes. And mostly put, we also have Lois losing her powers, Lex getting back his memory, and lost the things how his brain attack. He does get rearrested again, goes back to jail. Lee visits him in jail, obviously. Mercy, of course, uses to build super gun for Superman. Also, they're trying to shut down Supercore here, which it's still active, but he wants to get back to Lex. Let's start with the Cowlids here, and Lobo is kind of here, but not really. And of course, Time Terror fights the Darkseid Legion superheroes here. But this book is fantastic. Loved every issue of this one. I give this book a 10 out of 10. Yep, so yeah, that's pretty much the particular video. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, notifications. Okay, so at one point Superman doesn't go crazy, but he does get cured. So Lois loses her powers after briefly having them. Yes, she had them for a very brief period of time. I'm sure for Josh Williamson, he probably had a plan to have her have these powers for a brief period of time. Now, who do these powers originally belong to? Basically the same powers as Superman. I'm guessing it could have been Power Girl, maybe? Or Supergirl? I'm not sure, because Power's got one kid with absolute power, but Superman got his powers back, no problem. Yep. But before I do my next comic corner, I'm going to end it here, and then I'm going to go ahead and work on the strongest is not a mage or hero mage, but actually appraiser visually. So, see you next video. If I can get things to stop here.